Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know that you could have picked from 4 different breakout sessions happening right now, and I am delighted that you would choose to spend the next, 30 minutes or so with Cal and I. So thank you for being here. My name is Marin Rowe, and I'm a Senior Director of Product Marketing here at Lucid. I live in Salt Lake City, Utah, which is a great place to visit and an even better place to live. But we have plenty of people, so no one else needs to move here. In the 6.5 years that I have been at Lucid, I've had the opportunity to lead numerous products and initiatives. But as a fun fact, Cal, I was actually hired on to support our go-to-market efforts for our process capabilities, which back in the day were only available in lucidchart. That was our only product. So I'm dating myself a little bit here, but getting to be on this stage with you, talking about process improvement, it is a full circle moment for me, and I am so excited to be here. So with that, Cal, I'll pass it over to you to introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Marin. I am Cal Martin. I am so excited to be here with you all today. I am a customer trainer as part of the professional services department at Lucid. So my job is to do exactly what I'm going to do today and show you how to be process diagramming masters. So I'm super excited to be here and with Marin to walk through some cool stuff. Marin, I'll pass it back to you.
Great. All right, before we get started, I got to go through a few reminders because we get a lot of questions about, is this session being recorded? Good news, it is being recorded, and you can expect an email soon with the recording of today's keynote and all 4 breakout sessions in case you wanted to listen into some of the others, but you came here with us. So you'll get an email soon for all of the sessions and content from lately at Lucid. Also, we have an amazing team behind the scenes that are helping us answer questions. So please use the Q&A feature to ask those questions and use chat to share thoughts and excitement. That'll help us to make sure that we don't lose any of your questions and that we get everything answered and addressed. All right, well, let's jump into it. With the time that we have today, Cal and I want to cover just a few things, but we'll be efficient. First, I want to chat about why Lucid is the best solution for driving process improvement across your organization. Next, we'll have Cal teach us some tips and tricks on how to effectively document processes utilizing the capabilities available in the Lucid suite today. And listen closely, because his guidance will help you not only maximize your investment in lucidchart and lucidspark, but also set you up for future success with our Process Accelerator. Finally, I want to recap what was covered in the Lately at Lucid keynote session in case you missed it, around our forthcoming Process Accelerator. There's some really exciting stuff that's being built right now, and I want to make sure that you don't miss it. All right, kicking things off on what you can do in Lucid today to save time, increase efficiencies, and drive alignment across your teams. We have countless users using Lucid day in and day out to document their team and company processes. In fact, process flows is one of the most popular use cases for lucidchart. In talking with these users, we found that Lucid addresses 3 common pain points as they document, standardize, and optimize processes. See if any of these resonate with you. And again, feel free to come into chat and talk about it. We find that many organizations lack a source of truth for how their business runs. From data flows to customer support operations and everything in between, they are missing detailed, up-to-date documentation that can educate their workforce and drive standardization across their business. By bringing process documentation all into one centralized location in Lucid, they can save time, provide quick answers to often complex questions, and drive alignment across their teams and departments. Next, we hear that a lack of detailed documentation leads to bottlenecks and inefficiencies. Teams are often running so fast, they don't even know where the holes are in their workflows. So by documenting standard operating procedures in Lucid, their organizations can better see what's going on and quickly identify those gaps and areas of optimization. And finally, we hear that many organizations lack consistency and standardization as to how the work is getting done. Without proper documentation, teams are often reinventing the wheel and trying to create new solutions to problems that they already have solutions for. Oh my goodness. But by building a library of resources in Lucid, they can quickly get on the same page and accelerate that work forward. Don't just take my word for it. Let's hear from one of these customers on why their team uses Lucid to collaboratively document their processes.
Hi, everybody. My name is Andrea. I'm a manager of a business process excellence team at Autodesk, and I'm based in Barcelona. Autodesk is a software as a service company that moves very fast. At present, there are over 25 different company initiatives that require detailed process documentation to move work forward effectively. Having proper documentation of processes and standard operating procedure has been a big focus for Autodesk. Lucid has helped us accomplish this. To support these different initiatives, my team and I have built what we call business process catalog inside of Lucid. We have organized all our process documentation on a structure that links to the individual detailed processes. Initially, we organized our processes by initiative. Lucid flexibility made it easy to reorient how we are currently grouping our documentation by capabilities and not by initiative. This shift sped up accessibility to process knowledge and the ability for individuals team to take action. One of Lucid's strengths is that it is highly collaborative. Lucid provides the ability for multiple business analysts to easily contribute to the same document, whether that would be working on a process map or asynchronously to review and feedback. Lucid has also enabled Autodesk to create our own standards and notation that we have applied to our process documentation. In fact, in lucidchart, we outline the racy responsibilities across processes by using our own custom shapes and notation standards to be able to communicate beyond just the process flow. This sped up the way that we can present processes and reduce the number of questions we get from stakeholders, ultimately allowing us to move faster and drive alignment across the business. We're very excited to see the new capability that Lucid is building to further scale the ability to document, govern, and store our important business processes.
Man, it always jazzes me to hear the really cool ways that our customers are using Lucid. Cal, building on that energy, what are some of the best things that we should do to create really awesome process diagrams in Lucid?
So many things, Marin, so many things. I am so excited to be here with you all and talk about ways to align, clarify, and gain insight with your team. There are a lot of great ways to do this, but some of the best ways to do this are with Lucid. So we're going to start by walking you through alignment first, kind of talking to Marin's point of how to align your team before you get started. A lot of times when we're talking about visual diagramming or visualizing the work we do, we often get these really lengthy step-by-step lists or lengthy step-by-step processes that are really hard for people to follow. And so being able to take something like this and quickly turn it into an easy to follow diagram is going to save us so much time. It makes it easier for people who need to process information quickly or move quickly in their business to do exactly that. So what we're going to do here is align with your team through visual diagramming. We're going to take a minute and walk you through 2 different ways to build diagrams in lucidchart. I'm using an example today on my screen. You're going to receive an example very soon that you can follow along with me doing this activity here. So the first way we're going to talk about creating diagrams is with generative AI. This tool will be limited based on licensing or based on IT and security permissions. But if you do have generative AI, let's go ahead and check it out. On the leftmost side of your screen, you're going to see a little double sparkle, which is for generating a diagram with AI. I'm going to go ahead and select that here. And I may have already kind of pre-prepared a paragraph for you here. You don't need a paragraph this big. You can be very basic with your example of what you would like the AI to do. I like to use the create method where if you know what that is, great. If not, go look it up. It's a great way to kind of generate your AI prompts, but you're just creating a really clear scenario for the AI to follow. I'll go ahead and click generate here, and Lucid's going to create a fantastic first draft of a diagram for me. The reason I call this a first draft is it's not perfect, and it's never going to be. No diagram or no process we make is going to be perfect. And so being able to use this as a first draft or a first path through on this is a great opportunity. I can also have the AI edit the diagram for me, making it really quick to update some of the text here. So I might ask it to actually reduce some text for me. That way these are less text heavy and a little bit easier for my employees to digest. Ooh, that looks so much better. I'll click finish editing, and the best part is I can still edit, I can still move these shapes, change the text, or change these colors. But like I said, this is a great first draft. especially since I know a lot of you already have documentation for how you do your job. You've already got Word documents or Microsoft documents or pages dedicated to how you do your job. And so being able to take it and give it to our generative AI is going to save you so much time on that first diagram you create. Now, for those who don't have that generative AI, let's walk you through quickly a quick diagramming feature to build a diagram lightning fast. So I'm going to run to my Shapes panel over here on the leftmost side of my screen. And I'm going to use the generic Lucid flowchart shapes. These are the ones I use the most as they're readily accessible, a lot of people understand them, and they're really just quick to find. So I'm going to quickly just add one of these process rectangles to my canvas by simply left-clicking on that shape. You'll see it throws it into the middle of the canvas for me. Now, I could continue to click on more shapes here, but I want to take advantage of Lucid's quick diagramming tools. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take my cursor and hover it over this shape and click on one of these purple nodes you're seeing on the edge of your shape. As I left click on this node, you'll see it's going to automatically create not only a line, but a shape connecting the diagram for me. So I can do this a couple different times here to quickly create a diagram. Awesome. And now all I need to do is come in and update some of this text. So I can come in here, label this as the start. We're thinking about an e-commerce website maybe, or how a customer orders a product. We're going to say customer selects purchase. We need to check our inventory. Is it in stock? If so, we need to create the invoice, create our shipping label, and give the customer the confirmation and the shipping information, shipping tracking number. If I could type, that would be great. There we go. Looks like I'm missing one more step here to end my process, so I'll quickly add this here and type in an end. Now, for those of you who are process diagramming experts, you may be shaking your screens right now and saying, why is he only using one shape? That's not what diagramming is about. I'm aware, it's okay, because what we're going to do here is quickly change these shapes using Lucid's change shape icon. I can select a shape process rectangle right here. And when I do that, it will allow me to select this icon here to quickly change shapes, allowing me to quickly change into a terminator, signaling the beginning and the end of the process. Let's do that again at the end over here. And we have to check if it's in stock. If it's not, we might need to put it on back order and let the customer know, in which case I'm going to change this quickly to a decision diamond. With that, and using Lucid's quick diagramming tools, I was able to quickly get a diagram together in not even a few minutes. I was able to take a process that we know and do a lot as a company and iron it out really clearly for our team. We could take this further by adding in extra information or extra colors or adding in swim lanes. That's a great way to delineate different customer needs or different customer conversation points. I'll see a lot of people use this as a differentiator between, the customer's point of view and the company's point of view. It's a really great way to not only visualize what you go through as an employee, what your customer goes through, and how we can make that better. Once you've aligned your team, though, it's really important to clarify that important information. While we're talking about swim lanes, I see so many of swim lanes in lucidchart documentation, and I love them. They're such a great way to delineate different actors or different people involved in a process. You can see here, we've got 3 different teams involved in employee onboarding. We've got the new employee themselves, HR, and IT. Here's the issue, though. Does a new employee have to see all of this information? Does a new employee have to know what HR and IT need to do? Probably not. As a recent new employee myself, I didn't want this much information. It would have stressed me out. You know what I would have wanted instead? A clear, easy workflow for me as the new employee. But before you freak out, I didn't delete anything. I instead took things and sent them to layers, making it so I can have multiple visualizations of one document inside of one location. So I'm not having to create 3 different documents to represent our new employee onboarding. I can simply do it with one document. Let's practice making this happen. So on your document, you will already see a 3-lane swim lane for new employees, IT, and human resources. The first thing we need to do is create our layers. I like to think about layers like the layers of a cake. You've got your bottom layer of the cake, you've got some icing, another layer of the cake, some icing, another layer of the cake. And each layer is good and important, but you can't see all of the layers all at once unless you cut inside of the cake. Our layers work the same. You have the power to hide away those layers or hide away the information that's not relevant to certain parties using layers and actions. So let's first plan how many layers are in our cake. Looks like we'll need at least 2, possibly 3 for 2 different HR processes here. HR staying busy. So I'm going to go to the bottom right of my screen down here and select layers. You can see they're little stacked squares at the bottom of your screen. When I select that layers, I'm going to get the fancy layers panel. And I can select this new button to create a new layer. I'm going to create 3 because I know how many I need here. So I'm going to create 1, and we're going to call it HR Review for HR reviewing important new employee information. We're going to get IT system set up in this other new layer. And we'll do 1 more for first day orientation. Great. That's it. We've created our layers. We've planned our cake, and we know where everything needs to go. It's now time to move those layers to where they belong. To get back to our main page, I will simply double-click on the back of my screen here. You'll notice my screen's a little bit grayed out right now, or maybe yours looks the same. If you double-click on the back of the screen, it'll take you back to the main canvas we were building on a second ago. And the best part about layers and actions, it's a simple highlight and move. So I'm going to left-click and hold to select all of the steps involved in HR review. That's all of the rectangles, all of the documents, all of the shapes, and that arrow as well. Once I've highlighted all of those shapes, I'm going to right-click on a shape. This is very important, to click on a shape. So I'll right-click on I-9 and tax forms. Doesn't have to be that shape in particular, but just a shape. And scroll on down to copy or move content. We don't need a copy here. We need a movement to a new layer. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Move To down here and select HR Review. Presto changeo, it has now been moved to our HR Review layer. Let's rinse and repeat for IT and first day orientation. Left-click highlight to grab our swim lane, our shapes, and our arrow. Right-click again, Move To, and we'll move this one to IT Setup. Double-click back to the main screen. We're going to highlight just these shapes here, as these are the shapes that have not been moved yet for our first day orientation training. Give these a right click, Move To, and this is going to go to first day orientation. Congratulations, you've now taken all of your content and moved them to separate layers. That's step 1. Now, the big and most important step is the visualization of this document. What is this document supposed to look like in the long term? What do the new employees need to see versus what our internal teams need to see? Well, from our fancy dancy layers panel, I can select these little eyeballs here to quickly hide away the layers. And now this looks very similar to the example I showed a second ago, where it was just the new employee walkthrough, where it was just the new employee workflow. This is a great document to share with new hires. That way they know exactly what they need to do once they are inside the system. However, what if you're that HR representative? What if you are that IT person and it's been a minute since we've hired somebody new and you're not quite sure what steps you need to take? How can we quickly show those layers without accessing the layers panel? We'll do that with actions. So I'm actually going to close, I'm not going to close this layer panel for a second. One big thing here is sync visibility. I almost forgot. This was almost a disaster, everybody. We're going to sync visibility here really quick click on that, and that's going to make it so our starting view of the document is this blank canvas, is this clean version. Now it's time for actions. Was just making sure we were all set to go. For actions, you will need to select a shape that currently exists on the canvas. Let's go ahead and select this HR review shape. Once you've selected that shape, let's go to the top middle right of your toolbar and find this little lightning bolt. This is our little Shazam lightning bolt for actions. I'll select layers here, select our toggle option, and find the corresponding layer, in this case, HR review. I'll select done for now. Let's rinse and repeat for IT system setup and for first day orientation. And now the magic has happened. If you take your cursor and hover over these different icons, and hit save on that one, there we go. If you hover your cursor over these different process rectangles here, you will now see a new pop-up for a shift, command, and a left click. For the record, I am running a Mac, so if you are running a Windows, it will change that prompt appropriately. But I can quickly toggle that layer on and on, making it easy for those individuals who do HR review to review the HR process. For those that do IT system setup, to quickly visualize IT setup and that first day orientation. Now, I did mention cakes earlier, and the sprinkles or the cherry on top of this cake is to make these shapes look a little bit more like a button. So I'm going to take a quick second here and do some text editing on the upper right of my screen to give it that good old-fashioned hyperlink blue and a underline. This makes it look more like a clickable link, so our team is more encouraged to click on that button to visualize their information and creates extra clarity going forward. I love layers and actions because not only are they a great way to quickly clean up your documents and the things you're doing every day, but it's also a great way to compare different versions of documents. I see a lot of people use this as current state and future state, or current and proposed state. I've seen customers use this as different versions of a workflow where they've got a current workflow they got and they want to improve upon it. So they create a layer, build in that layer, and get feedback on that specific layer. It's great because they don't have to mess up their original document to still iterate and improve and align with their teams. So I love layers and actions. They're such a great way to take a diagram from a static document into a living, breathing organism that morphs and changes as your business changes as well. And speaking of living, breathing document, my favorite part is creating insights using data linking and conditional formatting. I am such a lucidchart nerd, and so getting to talk to you all about these two features in particular, I was so excited. So data linking and conditional formatting is the power to take the data sets you already have, the data sets you're already using to run your business or to improve your business, and attach them to a diagram, which will allow you to iterate, improve, or visualize waste or issues in your current systems. You can see on the example here, we've got a very robust customer support ticket. The issue being, that's not super easy to read, is it? There's quite a few too many rows and columns. Really, my main goal is to figure out why we're taking so long in certain steps. Wouldn't it be easier if we could just zoom in on that one section? Well, that's what data linking and conditional formatting lets you do. We can see how the support team goes through their support tickets, see how the variance in minutes is changing in step per step, and see where waste is taking place or where there might be inefficiencies in our process. We can see we have issues in ticket intake and escalation. Meanwhile, follow-up and closing seem to be going okay, so I'm not too worried about those. This means I can zoom in, pun fully intended, and work with my team to improve this process. So let's make this example come to life by doing data linking and conditional formatting. At the bottom of your screen, you will find a version of that template I just showed you, letting you practice data linking and conditional formatting. The first step in this hurdle is data linking, taking the data that you imported in and putting it onto the diagram. For time's sake, I have already supplied a data set for you. You can find this in our little pancake stack or our data link hub with a hyperlink chain, and you'll find data for our customer support ticket. As you hop into your new documents, you will need to add new data sets on your own. That being said, as you go to add those new data sets, you can choose from CSV, Google Sheets, and Excel. Google Sheets and Excel do have live syncing, so as you update in either of those tools, it will also update in Lucid. CSV does require a manual update, but it's also a great tool for our demo today. Now, if I wanted to take this data and quickly apply it to these different shapes, all I'm going to need to do is simply drag and drop. I can take this entire row of data for ticket intake, left-click hold, drag, and drop, which will quickly add it to my shape. The first time you add data, you will get a fancy pop-up on the right side of your screen called the contextual panel. For the record, I did already add the data for this document, so this panel won't open up. So go ahead and take a second and open up that panel on the upper right of your screen. But we can practice adding a few more data sets. You can grab triage, apply that, escalation, apply that, assignment, apply that, so on and so forth to each of these shapes on the canvas here. You'll know your data is attached because inside of your data panel, you will see little chained hyperlinks, letting you know that that data is attached to something on your document. You can even click on that hyperlink to quickly find what shape it is attached to. Really great as you're updating data, managing data, or needing to refresh your data. I'm going to go ahead and close the data panel for just a second, as we're now going to talk about our fancy contextual panel. I love this panel. It's probably one of my favorite panels, secondary to the conditional formatting panel. This panel is great because it's going to allow you to visualize all of the data that is attached to a shape, but also let you do some extra cool things. One of those things being referential formulas. You'll actually see I've already supplied some on our document here today. You can tell because there's a little bracket around some of our text. And basically what I've done is have Lucid go and look for what that shape was called and put it on my diagram for me, saving me so much time for me to do manual text entry. To do that, you simply select your shape, go to your contextual panel, find the data column, and select this little T+ icon to the right of the cell you would like to enter. If you can't see that T+ very well, there should also be 3 dots where you can insert value as text. Great way to save yourself some time going forward and also speed up some of your building. Now, once you've got your data attached, your data is linked, and you've visualized what those steps are, it's time to gain that insight. It's time to see what's going on with our process. So we're going to go back to the left side of our screen here and grab this little magic wand for conditional formatting. Now, for those of you who may not understand coding, that is a-okay. You don't have to use conditional formatting. You just need to know an if-then statement. If a certain condition or data set is held as true, then do something for me. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and click Create Rule right here. And you'll notice there's now this new, before I do that, almost forgot, I got to rename my rule. Ooh, Cal almost made an error. Always rename your rules, because as you create, very much like your layers, you'll want to be able to toggle on and off those rules, making it really easy for you to know what rule is doing what. So in this case, this is our variance in time. So I'm going to quickly retitle this rule number 1 up here to variance minutes. Awesome. There we go. Cal saved himself. Beneath that, you'll see a new option to edit rules with AI. This is another one of our new AI features that's going to allow you to enter a simple text-based prompt and have Lucid build the rule for you. So in my case, I could say if shape data variance minute is, what are my numbers again, is greater than or equal to 3, then give me a red icon. I can go ahead and click Update Rule here, and this is going to automatically go into Lucid and apply that red shape for me on those 2 ones with data above 3 minutes. This has saved me so much time in manually creating that rule. I could go further and ask it to do the other 2 options for me, But let's take a second and show a version for people who may not have this AI enabled. So I'm going to go ahead and close off this menu here, and we'll see the rule all fleshed out underneath. So if our condition, which is shape data, variance minutes, is greater than 3, then give us a red icon. I do want to update this to be the red X, just a personal preference. And then we'll use an else if condition. You could also type this into the AI, else if, then do this, or else if, then do this. But else ifs basically copy the stuff you've already done, and quickly I'll let you reformat that option here. So I'm going to say if variance in minutes is less than 0, not that this happens very often, but in case our work is happening faster than it should. And one more else if, for if that variance is between, where's my between? There's my between at the bottom there. Between 0 and 3, then give me a green check mark. We're in the good margin. I'll go ahead and click save at the bottom of the screen here. And would you look at that? We've now got red X's, blue little eyes, and green check marks, letting us know that we are good on follow-up and closing. We're actually doing too well on triage, assignment, and resolution. So maybe we check in with these teams and figure out what's going on to make them work so awesome. And then we figure out how we can fix ticket intake and escalation. If you wanted to take this a step further, by the way, you can always go in and edit your rule by selecting the 3 little dots and selecting edit, which can allow you to create custom hover text. So I could even come in here and say inefficient, which means this is an inefficient process. I could come to this one and say, overly efficient. Or I can come into this green one and say it is efficient. It is working as it should. Save that. And now the big change is if I take my cursor and hover over those little icons, it should tell me what those little flags represent. You can see inefficient there. You can see overly efficient, and you can see efficient. A great way to keep everyone on the same page, to align your team, to clarify why we have these icons, and give insight to why these icons are so powerful. I see this used in so many different ways. I see this used by HR teams for performance reviews. I also see it used by HR teams to visualize different working locations, remote, in-person, hybrid, or for multinational companies. They will also use it to put little flags for where their team members are located. It's also great for visualizing Scrum teams for any org charts. It's also great just for, like we did here, for doing lean analysis and waste analysis. Last most important thing to cover is sharing your documentation. It is a complete moot point to talk about aligning, clarifying, and gaining insight if you're not sharing this with people, if your team is not aware of what's happening. So we got to talk about sharing. So to share your document, you're going to go up to the top right, click that little purple share button, and you've got 2 ways to share. If you've got a Slack integration or a Teams integration set up, or you want to share with individual Lucid users, you can share with this individual access button. Or my personal favorite is a shareable link. This is fantastic to go in a calendar invite, to go in a knowledge repository, maybe a process accelerator. Marin, tell us more please in a second, or other great stuff like that. You can also update permissions and who has access to these things, so you're not stuck with one way or another. You can give people specific permissions or manage their permissions later. Another great thing, though, I hear a lot from users just like you who are like, Cal, I love sharing my documentation, but something got messed up. People came in, they moved something. I know they didn't mean to, but how do I fix my document quickly? How do I check what's changed over time? You're going to want to use our revision history. I am obsessed with this as a great way to keep a version tracker or ways to check what changes have happened over time. So to find the revision history, I will go to my file settings, go to show revision history. And what you'll see on the right side of the screen here is all of the cloud-based changes that have happened over time. I can see when other collaborators have come in. I can see when I've made changes, or even go back to when I created this document, or spoiler alert, when I broke this document and had to restore it in a panic. And so this revision history has not only saved me so many times, but has saved users just like you so many times by being able to save documentation, bring it back, or name those versions. I can select these three dots and rename this version as version final or version final 1.0 or version final 1.2. For those of you who get it, you get it. You can also compare documents side by side. So I could select multiple documents here and compare them side by side to see how those changes have taken place over the life of the document. This will be a synced scroll, so any changes you make will also follow on your both screens as well. So you can see before we added conditional formatting and after we added conditional formatting. Amazing. I'm going to jump back to the workspace here so we can see some more ways to collaborate with our team. For the record, if revision history is great for you, I'm super excited for you to jump in. But again, Marin's got something called a Process Accelerator that's going to take something like this to the next level. And I can't wait for them to talk a little bit more about that here in a second. But I've got one more thing to share with you, and that's comments. I think these aren't used enough in Lucid. I think they are a great way to share information or get insight from somebody really quickly and call attention to specific places. For example, in my insight documentation, I might want to reach out to this triage team and say, hey, I've pulled in the data. What are you guys doing that you're so awesome at triaging these tickets? What I can do here is simply right-click on this triage, click Add Comment, and I can even @mention that individual to have them give me feedback on what they're doing. So I might @mention one of our fellow trainers who's in the middle of a session right now and say, hey, Christian, how are you all so awesome? I can post that comment, and you'll see you get a new comment panel, which views all of the comments on the document. So you can keep track of people's conversations, where improvements are being made, or if tasks have even been assigned to people. It's a great way to keep up with your team and what they're doing. But Marin, I've heard we've got some new improvements coming to improve a lot of this work. I would love to hear from you how we can make this even better.
Oh, thank you, Cal. I don't know how it can get better than that, but somehow it will. We'll all have our minds blown. But that was so awesome. So many great capabilities to use when mapping out processes. And I could never pick a favorite panel or feature, but I continue to be blown away by what you can do with AI in Lucid. It is such an easy and quick way to get content out onto the canvas quickly. I said that, but it automatically if I use words. So anyway, thank you for helping us all up level the way that we are mapping out processes in Lucid today. Again, so many more great things to come. So with that, I want to wrap up by sharing what's coming next by way of process improvement. If you are watching our keynote of the Lately at Lucid event today, you heard the announcement of a new product offering that we are building called the Process Accelerator. Lucid's Process Accelerator will provide organizations with increased governance and standardization as to how processes are stored, documented, and published in Lucid. So all of those beautiful processes that we're going to build with Cal's guidance can soon live in a global governed repository, providing a single source of truth and a place for official and approved documentation to live. Providing a way to scale process improvement is honestly just a natural evolution for Lucid and for our customers. We've all grown up together. As I've said before, we have countless teams and organizations that are using Lucid today to document, store, and share their process documentation. But with this new accelerator, they'll be able to do that in a much simpler and more scalable way. When it launches this summer, our Process Accelerator will offer customers first the ability to create repositories to house, again, official approved documentation. These repositories can be set up to meet the needs of your business, whether that's by team, department, line of business, strategic initiative, you name it. Second, within these repositories, Process Accelerator users will have the ability to set up approval workflows. This will provide a way to designate stakeholders to review and approve documentation prior to it being published in the repository. During the approval workflow, these approvers can view proposed process documentation. So again, new documents being proposed to put in the repository, or view proposed edits to existing documentation, like the document that Cal just made. In those docs, they can leave comments or edit directly, and they will have the ability to either deny or approve the documentation to be published. So again, there is going to be more checks and balances to make sure that anything that's shared in these repositories has been reviewed, approved, and is good to go. Finally, we're also developing a capability that we're calling the Asset Builder. One of the biggest pains that we've heard from our customers is around quickly creating and maintaining documentation. Again, AI can help with some of that, but there's also a lot of other things that we can do to help you get that content out onto the canvas quicker. In the Process Accelerator, users will be able to create custom reusable assets. Think of an asset to include something like custom shapes, systems and tools, roles or personas within your organizations, and even sub-processes that are nested within larger processes. All of these can be created, stored, and easily maintained in Lucid. It's easy to edit those assets, and then once you do, you can propagate those changes across any or all documentation where those assets live. What a time to be alive. So again, the Process Accelerator provides the ability to store, document, and maintain all of that really great process documentation that you're already building in Lucid today. With the Process Accelerator, it will be even easier to share this great work across your business to ensure that everyone is on the same page, that all teams remain in compliance, and that you can truly see and build the future faster than ever before. We've got a lot of exciting things in development right now. If you're interested to learn more about our Process Accelerator, reach out to your Lucid account team. We will be happy to dig in to better understand your unique needs and share more details around what we're building. And if you're not yet mapping out your processes in Lucid, now is the perfect time to get started. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you have a great day. Cheers.